Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon, so you never miss any new updates, cause whenever we upload new video you will get a notification on your phone.
Laboratory safety. The laboratory in the upstream oil sector has distinctive functions, testing appliances and analysis facilities for routine operational requirement as well as product quality assurance. This section deals with specific measures pertinent to laboratory safety. It is highly recommended to take extreme care while handling laboratory chemicals categorized under flammables, corrosives, oxidizers, reactives and compressed gases. Refer Chapter 7 for further detail on storage and handling of chemicals. 12.2 Laboratory Safety. A. Housekeeping. A high hygienic standard shall be maintained inside the laboratory. The laboratory flooring shall be made from a non-skid and non-reactive type material, which shall be kept free from oil, grease, chemicals, water or any slippery substance splashed over it. The fire extinguishers and other safety appliances inside the laboratory shall be regularly inspected and kept in ready-to-use condition. The chemical reagents, test equipment, partially used samples etc. should be returned to the designated storage immediately after use. Any spills should be cleaned with a suitable solvent, covered with absorbent granules and neutralized safely prior to disposing of as per procedure. The oily soaked rags, cotton waste, paper or other materials used for cleaning up, should be placed in covered metal receptacles. These receptacles must be emptied out or removed from the laboratory at the end of each day. The waste materials must be disposed of by a safe and environmental-friendly procedure to prevent any air, water or ground pollution. It is recommended to keep adequate numbers of suitable waste skips or bins to segregate different categories of wastes and dispose accordingly. The broken glass must not be put in the same container as that for waste paper or rags. The waste skip, which has contained flammable material, must be thoroughly washed and gas-freed prior to its use. It is also advisable to take special care while draining or disposing of the liquid waste. If the sink or drainage system is not purposely designed to accept spent acids or alkaline solution, then arrangements must be made to keep such waste liquids into a separate receptacle for safe neutralization and careful disposal. The drain system must be regularly checked to prevent any blockage and the washdowns are properly routed. A highly flammable material must be kept in a metal storage cupboard, marked with the appropriate safety signs. The potentially dangerous substances such as corrosive, reactive and flammable materials must not be stored inside the same container. At worst they should be stored in separate compartments and at best in separate cupboards. The stock of a hazardous chemical in the laboratory shall be kept to the minimum possible quantity needed for effective operations. B. Chemical identification and labeling. All sample bottles, packages and containers of chemicals and other hazardous materials must be clearly marked and labeled for easy identification. The containers, bottles or packages without labels and containing unidentified material must be disposed safely under the supervision of a laboratory technician or chemist. An appropriate warning notice, S, shall be prominently posted near the laboratory to alert the people about the potential hazard and associated risks due to chemical handling. The first aid instruction, for any untoward incidents such as electric shock, severe burn, and standard preventive measures must be displayed prominently inside the laboratory for immediate response. The Material Safety Data Sheet, MSDS, of laboratory chemicals like xylene, methanol, butanol and latoxone etc. should be readily available for ready reference. C. Compressed gas cylinders. The cylinder of compressed gas can pose a chemical as well as physical hazard. If certain gas is being used regularly, it is recommended to install a permanent manifold and gas supply arrangement with cylinders secured outside the laboratory. However, an isolation valve shall be located inside for easier control. If gas cylinders are placed inside the laboratory, It must be kept away from any source of heat and stored away from highly flammable materials. Under no circumstance attempt be made to mix gases in cylinders or transfer gas from one cylinder to other. The pressure regulator, valves, relief device, connections and hose lines should be regularly inspected for any damage. The cylinders must be secured in an upright position in purpose-made rack duly chained or strapped to a wall or other fixed support. A cylinder should be transported through a purpose-built trolley or handcart with safety cap on and strapped for security. The empty cylinders shall be marked and stored separately in the designated rack outside the laboratory. It is highly recommended to install a multi-gas detection and alarm system to alert in case of any gas leak. The main valve on a cylinder must be kept closed whenever the cylinder is not in use. An appropriate pressure regulator must be used and the regulator should not be modified to fit a cylinder it was not designed for. Oil or grease shall never be used to lubricate valves, fittings on oxygen cylinder, because a fire or explosion can result. Refer to Chapter 9 for further safety detail on gas cylinders. D. Electrical equipment. All electrical equipment inside the laboratory must be installed and serviced by a competent electrical person. The laboratory personnel should not carry out any electrical repairs or alterations to electrical equipment. An electrician should do electrical connection to a flame-proof plug. The electrical connections, extension cords and cable termination joints inside crude oil laboratory shall be flame-proof type suitable to the enclosure. These should be checked regularly to ensure its integrity and reliability. The equipment including plugs, sockets must be kept clean and dry. The power supply must be immediately switched off and the part is to be dried in case it becomes wet. Do not handle electrical equipment with wet hands. E. Glass equipment and enclosures. The protective spectacles shall be worn while working with glassware. All glassware should be checked prior to its usage, especially the items that will be exposed to high pressure, vacuum, or high temperatures. The glass bottles, vessels containing liquid reagents must be kept away from direct sunlight, to prevent any lens effect as fire may occur in this way. The Winchesters should be handled carefully and should be transported in the special containers provided for it. A purposely made baskets and trolleys shall be used for the transporting bottles and large containers. The windows for glass enclosures should be made of laminated or wired glass to ensure maximum protection to sustain exothermic reaction or any abnormal pressure buildup. 12.3 Personal protection. The personnel working inside a laboratory shall wear appropriate protective equipment required for the job. An aspirator bulb should be used to pipette any corrosive or toxic liquids. Any work involving toxic gases or vapors should be carried out in a fume cupboard and not on an open bench. The personnel working with radioactive sources or X-ray machine must be suitably protected from radiation hazard. He must wear a personal dosimeter and must go through regular medical checkup as required for such works. Refer to Chapter 7 for radioactivity hazard. The appropriate respiratory protection shall be provided whenever working in toxic atmosphere or the work nature may cause inhalation of harmful substances. Such equipment shall be kept in ready-to-use and hygienic conditions. The workers shall be trained to wear respiratory equipment. In case a canister-type respirator is used, then the workers must be made aware of its limitation. Refer to Chapter 7 for further detail on personal protective equipment. 12.4 First aid. It is required to train the laboratory staff to deal with first aid cases in case of emergency. The emergency fountains and eye wash solution shall be available in a ready-to-use condition. The first aid instruction for any untoward incidents such as electric shock, severe burns and standard preventive measures must be displayed prominently inside the laboratory for immediate response. The rescue equipment and first aid box shall be also available to provide immediate treatment. Refer to Chapter 4 for further detail on first aid. 12.5 Fire protection. The laboratory shall be equipped with suitable detectors for fire and toxic gas detection. The adequate numbers and type of fire extinguishers duly approved by fire team shall be made available in the laboratory for emergency use. Moreover, the fire blankets of the type duly approved by fire team will also be kept at easily accessible range from working bench. The laboratory staff will be trained in use of fire extinguishers and fire blankets. 12.6 Ventilation. Normally the laboratory shall be provided with an efficient ventilation and vapor extraction system to ensure adequate air circulation. In case the operation involves generation of flammable, toxic vapor, as in case of crude oil laboratory, the fume cupboard or degassing hood should be utilized for disposing off such gases to the safe location. The fume hood shall have suitable inbuilt baffles or filters as a protection against fire due to presence of flammable gas in the exhaust flue. The fume cupboard shall be regularly checked for efficient extraction of vapors, and crude oil laboratory shall be equipped with detection system to monitor flammable and toxic vapors. Refer to Appendix -2 for threshold limit values in this regard. The air conditioning system in the crude oil laboratory will be a one-way type without recirculating facility. It will be designed for 100% fresh air supply to eliminate all toxic vapors. 12.7 Chemical Handling. Most of chemicals being used in laboratory are potentially harmful and should be handled with due care. Extreme care should be taken while handling concentrated acids and alkalis. While preparing acid-alkali solutions, always add acid to water but never water to acid. The personnel protective equipment such as slash suit, gumboots, rubber gloves and face shield must be worn while handling acids and alkalis. All the relevant information for any new or unfamiliar chemical shall be obtained through material safety data sheets or from supplier prior to its use in the laboratory. These material safety data sheets, MSDS, must be available in the laboratory under a separate file.
Please give comment and suggestions.
Thank you.
Subscribe our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for more updates. Thank for visit our channel. See you next class.
Thank you.